What's Potomac fam? I hope this video found everyone having a great end to their first semester. So I'm here with you, and my task is to kind of break down and hopefully explain in detail what our advisory changes are all about. So um, you should be you should take some time to look through some of the resources that we just provided you in this email. It has come with a student video that you're going to show to your advisory students on Tuesday. It's got a very condensed two-page standard operating procedure that you can read. And Ms. Babick made two more instructional videos. One, how to use our new Google Sheet, which is how we'll be requesting and writing passes for students. And then also a video that will show you how to check your advisory students' grades, which is going to be really critical to not only advising students as your advisory teacher, but helping us provide movement opportunities for students during advisory time. So by now you probably know the biggest and most major change to advisory is that we no longer have S rotation. It will be an entire advisory period. We are keeping the bell schedule exactly the same. So students will come to their advisory teacher for the first half. That time is from 9:45 to 10:23. There will be a small 10-minute transition for students who are allowed to move. And then we will be in Wolverine student support time from 10:23 to 11:10. So the bell schedule does not change whatsoever. It remains the same. We are just dropping the S rotation. Students will not be rotating back to a period. They will use this time to get individual support from teachers, access the library for a quiet study hall, or be able to go to the auditorium, which will be an overflow spot for students who just want to put their headphones in and do work in another quiet space. So this is what it looks like. If I'm an advisory teacher, my advisory students are going to come to me. I'm going to take normal attendance to start the period through 6, which is critical. The second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to reference our new advisory Google Sheet, which you have information in the email about. When you access that Google Sheet, you're going to Central F your last name as the advisory teacher, and it's going to bring up a roster of all of your students in the advisory Google Sheet. And you'll be able to see, if you look to the right of the student, if a teacher has requested that student for intervention on that advisory day. If you don't see any students, none of your students have been requested by teachers. Any student that's been requested by a teacher, you're going to write a pass, a physical pass for them to be able to move at the end of the first portion of advisory, which is at 10:23. So I look at my list of students, I see that 3 have been requested by teachers, I write them passes. At the same time, you might have some students who are coming to you that say, hey, I got a library pass in the morning. You're going to take their library pass. You're going to verify via SIS that they're a student in good standing, which is a C- or higher in all of their classes. If they meet that threshold, you will write them a new pass, and that student will be able to go to the library. The last place students can go, and this is to help teachers that kind of have a packed advisory, and you can send some students to the auditorium, is that students who want to go to the auditorium in Springbank, you will check and verify to make sure they're in good standing, which is a C- or higher. If they are, you write them a pass to the auditorium. So now you have students who are sitting in front of you that either don't have a pass or have a pass and are able to go to 3 of the options: a teacher's class, the library, or the auditorium. Then you'll deliver whatever resource we have for you in advisory from our advisory team, and then you'll wait for the bell. When the bell rings, only those students who have a pass, this is so critical, only those students who you have written a pass for are able to leave the classroom. They will have 10 minutes to get to their destination location. That's either a teacher's classroom, the library, or the auditorium. At that time, we are asking that all teachers, the library, and the auditorium, which is administrators who are the auditorium, will be shutting the doors, and the rest of the administrative team, security staff, and department chair members who do not have any requested students will be in the hallways intervening with students and walking them back to their original advisory class. Maybe having conversations, why are you out of your advisory class? If they got a pass but they didn't make it on time, you need to make sure you make it through the 10-minute window. Once that bell rings and you give us about 5 minutes, we can resume normal activity where students can use the bathroom, one in, one out, you use your bathroom passes, and so forth. That second half of advisory, which we're calling Wolverine Student Support Time, is really designed to support Tier 2 and Tier 3 students. So we really want to reiterate for all of our teachers that if you are having students who are struggling in your class, this is a great time to request them. Another model that I've seen teachers use in the past is they've just given an assessment They look to see who struggled on the assessment. They go right to the advisory Google Sheet and request them for remediation or potentially a retake. So there's lots of different ways you can use it. Students can also come up to you and say, hey, Mr. Garner, I want to come to your class. Can you request me? And I can go right to the Google Sheet and I can put them in. Counselors can use it. Administrators can use it. And one of the best parts about it is that our advisory teachers are writing the pass for that student to get to you. And if we're really tight about that 10-minute window and teachers are shutting their doors and our library and auditorium locations are shut at 10 minutes, students will get into the habit of making sure they get to their locations in the appropriate amount of time. Some teachers might ask, well, what happens if I request a student, but that student doesn't show up? In the advisory Google Sheet, you could actually mark that you requested the student, but the student never showed up. Now, in most cases, the student's going to show up because the advisory teacher, which is the key piece, is helping that student get to that location by writing the pass and having the conversation. But in the absence of that, sometimes students don't make it. We want you to go ahead and use that little checkbox to say, I requested Brett to come, however, he didn't make it to the class. If you have any additional questions about what we're doing with advisory, please feel free to reach out to your administrator. We are relying on you and some of the resources that we've given you to help educate our kids. On January 25th, which is Tuesday, there'll be Nov Movement. You'll be given some resources by our advisory our advisory team, and also we are expecting that you show the student video and then have a conversation with your advisory students so they know exactly what to expect. On January 27th will be the first day that we start movement. We'll also be providing teachers a notepad of all of the notes that you will write just specific to the advisory transition, and these will be the notes that we will be looking for, us administrators and security staff in the hallway. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. We know this is new, but I think once you get into the rhythm of it, you're really going to enjoy this new structure, and we're glad that we can meet the needs of a lot of the requests we receive from students and from staff to initiate movement back into our intervention time.